Today, we are going to be trying something a little bit different than normal. Rather than my usual highly edited videos full of shenanigans, we are going to be trying something a little bit more active. Hello, lovely humans, and welcome or welcome back. For those of you who are new here, hi. I'm Heather. I am a woman who is just on a journey to get healthy mentally and physically. And if you want to stick along for the ride and hit the subscribe button, that would be fantastic. What I want you guys to do today is to pause this for just a second and take yourself outside on a walk. Now, I know you are excited to go on that walk and get those endorphins in, but there are two things that I need to tell you about first. One, please don't forget bug spray. Mosquitoes are awful. And two, and much more importantly, we gotta take a second to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video. Huge thank you to Bob and Brad. You may have heard of them, the dynamic duo, the physical therapists. I have spent the last few years watching their videos, learning tons, and I love that they make as many videos as they can with the goal of helping people. And they've also extended this mindset to their products, like the D2 mini massage gun. That's right, I have one, and it's amazing. Now, this is the actual mini massage gun. It is actually lighter than most of the ones that you would find on the market, which is super handy for your hands so they're not falling off while you're trying to fix your muscles. I was unlucky enough at the gym today to get an absolutely horrendous hamstring cramp, so I was super grateful that this thing was at home waiting for me to fix it when I got back. This is, of course, best when paired with a proper warm-up and a proper cool-down. It can't do all the work, we've got to do some of it. It also is really handy because the arm itself has 6 different positions that you can put it in, as well as having 5 different speeds and 5 different heads that you can trade out. They're very easy to attach and reattach. And this makes it so much easier to actually be able to reach pretty much any muscle that you need to get to, especially those deep ones, because y'all know those are the ones that love to get sore. So as a physical therapist and just, a person who works out, I have used multiple of the massage guns and the mini massage guns over the years. And I can say honestly, without a doubt, this is hands down the best one I have ever used. And on top of that, it is the only thing that I have seen that actually matches up to the quality of what you would find in a physical therapy clinic. And I love that they have made that accessible to the public. There is no gatekeeping. We are sharing it here because it's fabulous. If you're struggling with muscle soreness or you really just want to up your recovery game, I would highly recommend this. I know that I'm still fairly new to having sponsors on my channel, so I just want to take this moment to remind you guys that I am not going to put anything on here that I don't genuinely believe is a good product. If it is something that you would like to check out for yourself, they were kind enough to give me a code that you can put in at checkout for a discount, heck yes, and I will make sure to have the link for you guys in the description box. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe you guys have a walk to get back to. If for whatever reason where you live right now is absolutely foul outside, I feel your struggle. I live in Texas. We get 2 good months of the year, and I swear the rest are a hot mess. What I want you to do instead is to listen to this video while you are doing something active. Take a second, do a mobility routine, get your stretches in, maybe listen to it in the background at the gym, but do something that is healthy for you while you listen to me chat today. It's not going to be as highly edited, so you don't have to worry about having your eyes glued to the screen. Just make good decisions while you listen. I'm thinking about calling this series Fitness Fridays, but I am absolutely open to suggestions if anyone has anything more witty sounding. Today, I want to talk about failure, or more specifically, how people see themselves when they think that they have failed or are failures. I'm talking about what happens when things go wrong. And in life, there are definitely going to be things that go wrong, whether that's with your weight loss journey or just something else in general, but it's going to happen at some point in time. And how we handle that says a lot about us and about how healthy we are mentally. It's all about mindset. For the sake of this video, we're going to focus on weight. Let's say, for example, that you go to weigh yourself weekly, as one does, just to kind of see how you're doing. You think you've made all the right decisions, you've been active, you've had those vegetables, and you're thoroughly expecting to see something fabulous reflecting on that scale. But you get on the scale, and you've either not moved it even a smidge, or it's gone up. The first thing that a lot of us tend to do is say to ourselves, wow, I really failed at weight loss this week. Or they take it a step further and they just think that they're a complete failure at weight loss as a whole. But there's something wrong with that method of thinking. And here's why. When you say you failed at something, that implies that you have finished whatever it is, and that is the end result. You're done. That attempt is over. But realistically, that doesn't make sense with weight loss and with a lot of other things in life. So yes, you might have had an absolutely horrendous week with your results. The only way you're failing at weight loss or have failed at weight loss is if you stop, because that implies you are no longer making the effort. If you just have a bad week, that's okay. We all have them. Plateaus happen. Sometimes you forgot to log a couple calories and it really threw you off for the week. Or maybe you were just so stinking exhausted that you just didn't go as hard in the gym as usual and it reflected on the scale. None of that means that you have failed. If anything, you still tried to do the right decisions and healthy behaviors that lead to long sustainable change. Because the whole idea is that, yeah, we're going to get healthy, we're going to reach our goal weight or our fitness goals, and we're going to be super ecstatic about it because we worked our butts off along the way and we knew it was worth it. But none of that is going to happen in just 1 week of results on the scale. Me personally, I have spent my whole dang life getting all kinds around because I have had a terrible relationship with food. If it took me 35 years to get this fat, I am not going to get way less fat in a single week. So I want to give you guys a little bit of homework for this next week. Anytime you're feeling frustrated, whether that be with weight loss or something else, I want you guys to completely remove the word failure from your vocabulary, unless you are absolutely done with the event. So let's say this coming week that you have a 5K planned. You've been training for it, you've worked your butt off, you're excited, and you're like, heck yes, my goal is to do this 5K in 23 minutes. I don't know what a reasonable time is for a 5K. The last time I tried one, I was like 10 years younger, still fat and out of shape, and it was like, I think 47 minutes, but I was still proud of myself for finishing. Whatever your goals are, they're relevant to you. It doesn't matter what anyone else's are, okay? So just a little side note there. But you run your 5K, and instead of meeting your time, let's say you got about 33 minutes. You're not going to say, I failed at this, because that is self-limiting talk. It basically creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. If every time something goes wrong, you keep saying to yourself, wow, I'm really bad at this. Wow, I suck at weight loss. Man, I'm never going to get in shape. All you're doing is reinforcing the belief that you are never going to accomplish your goals. You're reinforcing the belief that you're not good enough, because that's always that little voice of self-doubt that likes to creep in and make you second guess yourself. And what happens when you second guess yourself all the time? Eventually, you're over it and you decide to stop trying. And y'all, if you never try again, that's the only time it makes sense to say I failed, because the event is done. But the reality is, this health and fitness journey is a whole beast of a lifetime to try to whip into shape. So instead of all that self-limiting talk that makes you believe it and just worms its way into your head, what I want you guys to do is to take a second and think about how you are phrasing it. It's okay to be frustrated. Lord knows I have been plenty frustrated in these last 2 years on my war with weight loss, where sometimes it seems like the weight is winning. So I'm not going to sit there and go, okay, I absolutely suck at 5Ks and I suck at weight loss, because that's not going to benefit anything. But what I want you to do instead is to use the principle of self-talk. Just keep it short, sweet, and simple. Instead of reiterating all your doubts to yourself, I want you to say, okay, that didn't go as well as I hoped, but I'm not giving up. I can do this. Whatever the phrase is, find something that's kind of like your catchphrase that works for next time. One thing in particular, and I got this one from a Chris Terrell podcast, which if you ever want a good weight loss podcast, highly recommend. It is on Spotify. One piece of self-talk that he had mentioned using whenever he is battling himself, especially if it's over putting something in his mouth, which in my case is a struggle because your girl is a sugar addict. If you are struggling with, say, the decision-making aspect, instead of just being like, oh, okay, whatever, I'm never going to lose the weight, I might as well just eat this. Self-limiting prophecy right there. Take a second and say, okay, I do really want this piece of cake right now. I'm acknowledging that I want this, but I want my goals for health and fitness more than I want this piece of cake right now. That's an example of self-talk, and something that I've also been trying to use lately anytime I'm having some struggles with dessert. So thanks, Chris Terrell, for that one. I want to give you guys a couple of examples here because sometimes it really does help just to have that short, sweet phrase to get it to click in your head. So let's say you get to the end of that 5K. I think I said we did 33 minutes. Forgive me if I'm just making up numbers here, but you get there and you're like, okay, I didn't meet my goal of 22 minutes. That's okay. I'm acknowledging that I haven't met my goal yet. I'm not beating myself up. I'm not quitting, but I know that 33 minutes is better than the 47 minutes that I did the first time I started this. I am making progress. I'm going to continue making progress, and I'm not going to give up because I know that I can do this, and I know that my health is worth it to be strong enough to carry my body as fast as I want to go through that finish line. Self-care isn't a magic cure-all, but it is something that has definitely helped me a lot over the years, so I really wanted to make sure to share that with you guys. It is also something that can help to reframe that mindset so you're not always so negative. Because when you're negative with yourself all the time, it can be really easy to slip into those self-loathing patterns where you basically are just like, man, I'm a sack of crap and I am worthless. And it's so easy to get stuck that way. But if you start working in those little bits of self-talk that are positive, gradually, it can help you to kind of learn to love yourself along the way because you're building the belief that you can do all the things that are kicking your butt right now. Not because they aren't hard, but because you are dedicated and you're taking the time to train and to learn and to do whatever it takes to improve those habits that are hopefully healthy ones that you're trying to create. It's also a really good way to help you to avoid that all or none behavior. All or none behavior is kind of like seeing things in black and white. I didn't meet my goal for weight loss this week. I must be terrible at weight loss. Forget this. Rather than saying, okay, I had a rough week, let me take a moment to pause and reflect on what went wrong. You need that positive self-talk to kind of keep you motivated to keep going and to not beat yourself up. But you also need that component where instead of just doing all or none thinking and saying, forget it, it's worthless, you need that level of self-reflection to go back and say, okay, something isn't going right. Sometimes it's something as simple as, oh my gosh, I forgot to track that blasted Uncrustable that I love to have at the end of the night for my snack. I'm stopping buying Uncrustables because your girl cannot contain herself. It's just a tiny sandwich, but it's somehow magical. But I recognize that it was a problem, and I am dedicated to continuing to create healthier, sustainable habits. There we go with that positive self-talk. I want to make sure that I'm sending you guys home or, back to your couch, depending on where you are right now, with some sort of action plan for the next week. Because no matter how much content you consume for motivation, for weight loss or health or fitness, if you aren't turning those into actionable steps, then you're most likely just going to keep making the same mistakes. So I want you guys to just take a second whenever you're done with this walk or bike or stretch or whatever it is you're doing right now. And props to you for getting active. I love it. That's what we're promoting on this channel. We're going to be active and fabulous. But whenever you are done, I want you to take a second to just find a piece of scratch paper. And I want you to think really hard about whatever it is that you have been trying to achieve recently. It doesn't have to be weight or fitness related, but make it something to where you feel like you have gotten kind of stuck or where you have just not had the best attitude with it. Once you figured out what that is, I want you to take a second and I want you to write down all the crappy thoughts that you've been having. I'm talking about all those, oh my gosh, I'm a failure, I'm never going to get this. All of those cruddy thoughts. Get them out of your system and then take a nice deep breath and start to focus on how you can reframe your thinking. I want you guys to come up with one phrase, one sentence, maybe two sentences. If you're wordy like me, y'all know I struggle. 1 to 2 sentences about how to reframe that thought into a positive one. So instead of the negative talk, for example, like, I love Uncrustables so much, I'm never going to be able to give them up, turn it into, I love Uncrustables, but I'm really excited to try new things and find other healthy snacks that I can enjoy. It can be a super short sentence. Whatever you can say over and over again to make things feel better. This whole video might sound like a whole lot of examples, but I know that for me personally, sometimes it helps to have all sorts of different ones, just to have different ideas on the phrasing, because what clicks for some does not always click for others. So here is one last example of self-talk that I have been using in the last few weeks and an action plan to go with it. I tend to get really upset because I have obsessive compulsive disorder and struggle really hard to not pick at my face. It's really easy for me to be negative and just say, I hate my skin. It's a sack of crap. And don't get me wrong, some days that still slips out of my mouth. But I've been trying to rephrase that. So when I'm driving in the car and the urge to pick is there because I really only have one hand on the steering wheel, if we're being honest. So I say to myself, my skin looks good today. I don't need to touch my face. And sometimes I have been through 10 signal lights in a row and said to myself about 157 times, I don't need to touch my face. It is not a magical process, and some days I'm gonna arrive home with my face looking shredded. That's where the action plan comes in, because you want to combo self-talk with your action. So, when I'm driving, not only am I saying to myself, I don't need to touch my face whenever the urge is there, but I'm adding in the extra action plan of having a pair of gloves that I can put on in the car so I have no option to shred my face. So back to your list. You've already written down your good self-talk, I hope, and I hope it's fabulous. You've got this. Take another second to troubleshoot whatever the thing is that's bothering you and figure out where you went wrong, not with the talk, but with the actions. In my case, it was leaving my hands available to touch my face. Just an example. Whatever that thing is where you went wrong, I want you to come up with something small, not something big. We're not going with giant life changes, small, doable ones. Come up with something small that you can do to work towards, with that self-talk, improving whatever it is you're struggling with this week. So if you are okay with it, feel free to leave below just kind of what your action plan is for the next week, and I'll be sure to leave some encouragement as best I can. So how'd your walk go? You guys feeling a little more energized? You feeling proud of yourselves because you did something healthy? I hope so, because you're making good strides already, and I am really happy for you. This is definitely a little bit more unusual than what I would normally do. I guess we'll call it our walk and talk fitness page or something. I would love to know below if this is something that you guys enjoy, where it's a little bit more on the motivational but with an action plan side of things, where we just kind of hang out and talk while you guys get healthier. I also am going to get healthier later. I just didn't want to jostle the camera all around and make everybody dizzy while I'm walking and talking, because it would look like this and it would just be a whole mess. So let me know what you think of this below. If you hate it, I might not do a lot more, but if it's something that someone found beneficial, please let me know, because although I am absolutely trying to get healthy for me, I want to make sure that I'm helping you guys on your journeys as much as I possibly can. So if you enjoyed this, please make sure to leave a like below. Make sure to comment and tell me how it went for you. And I will see you absolutely lovely humans in the next one. Bye bye.